What makes this particular DNC convention unique and different from the rest, aside from the fact that we now have a newer presidential Democratic nominee?
Well, I'm actually here to do a couple of workshops. One on the problem of white nationalism and religious nationalism, and how dangerous it is to our public policy, and how contrary it is to Christian faith or any faith. I think that's an important thing. We've never had that discussion at a Democratic convention. And then I'm here to do another piece on the poor, and the fact that poor and low-wage people in this election are the largest possibility for expanding the swing vote. There are 30 million poor, low-wage, infrequent voters. 30 million. 57 million voted last time. 54% of them voted for progressives. There's not a state in this country where poor and low-wage folk don't represent 30% of the electorate, and in the battleground states, they represent 43% of the electorate, which means if about 5% vote, they can change it. This is the first time that I know where a presidential candidate, when she opened her mouth to say, said, I want America where people can be free from child poverty. She actually said the words. Then she said, I want America free where people can have one wage and make a living. That's a living wage. And where she said, I want to build affordable housing, over 2 to 3 million. Those are clear-cut public policy that could implement it, could in a major way go toward eradicating the fact that there are 140 million poor and low-wage people in this country, 51% of our children. This is serious business, and it's juxtaposed against an insulter and an angry person and somebody who's saying, we want to make America great again. First of all, I want to know how far again, like how far back do you want to go? I think the larger question that the Vice President Harris is trying to raise, and we'll hear more about it, is we are great, but the question is, what do you do with that greatness? See, we have the largest GNP in the world. So if we're great, we ought to be so great we don't allow poverty to exist. We ought to be so great that we don't allow. In other words, it's not being great, it's what do you do with your greatness. That's the great moral question.
And with that said, what do you think needs to be accomplished for this to be a successful DNC for the Harris-Walz ticket?
I hope, first of all, that they let ordinary people speak to the agenda so that people can see themselves. I personally wish that the night she spoke to the nation, she would have a diverse group of people around that will be lifted up by the policies from 50 states all around, every color, race, creed, sexuality. So folks say, this is about me. More importantly, I think that deep diving on her agenda and what it means for the country and how it will really address the critical needs that we face. And just being strong and in the leader, showing that what you have in them is not anger, resentment, going backwards, but what you have is intelligence, love, justice, commitment to the Constitution going forward. I'm hoping that that's what we see. I'm so thankful that she actually had the courage to say the word poverty, because you cannot, in this moment in American history, if 43% of the nation is poor and or low wealth, you can't be president and not at least speak to how your presidency is going to address that issue. And lastly, for your paper, your audience, we're talking about 60% of black folk. Now that's 26 million people. We're talking about 30% of white folk, that's 66 million. There are more white folk numerically, but there are more black people percentage-wise. And here's the thing, if black, poor, and low-wage folk and white, poor, and low-wage folk hook up, they change the whole political structure in this country.
Absolutely. And the last question I'd like to ask you, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm just thankful for what your newspaper does and what newspapers like. You all were out there before. I think it was black newspapers that actually called COVID airborne before the other ones. You don't know that, and so the power, as W.B. Du Bois once said about black newspapers, and Ida B. Wells and others, is that you tell a truth that must be told that often is not told, but if it's not told, the nation is hindered. So I just want to say to you, keep doing what you're doing, keep telling the truths we need to hear. You wouldn't even have a vice president Harris, who's black and Asian, anywhere near the stage, if for years the media in the black community had not done its job over and over and over and over again. Now, people may not say that from the stage, but we need to say it, and I'm saying it. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care, my friend. Have a good one. Be blessed.